Hi everybody, Jay Nabe here. This is Music Talk number 4. And today we're going to talk about how to get more Spotify monthly listeners. I know that's a pretty hot topic nowadays since Spotify is the number one streaming service where artists are making the most money on streaming. The number one thing is to use the Rust method. What is the Rust method, you may ask? That means you release one single a week. It sounds like a lot, but it's not, at least not in my opinion. Because I think to be an artist nowadays, you have to have a big discography. To hack the Spotify monthly listeners, having more songs in your discography or more songs under your belt, that's just going to give you more chances to get more listeners. And it makes you seem like you're more impressive when you get to your Spotify anyway. And Spotify likes it when you have everything fed on your portfolio. And always pitch to the Spotify curators where you're trying to get more Spotify monthly listeners. But a good hack is instead of paying for ads, pay for features that are bigger than you. I've been able to get a 5,000 to 7,000% increase on my Spotify monthly listeners just by getting a bigger artist on a track with me. Because that helps me get more attention than I would normally get just by myself. But I've been releasing a song a week and I just hit my 9th song and that just went crazy on Spotify because it hit the Spotify algorithm. So for me, it's working. And I'm confident that it's going to work for other people too because it worked for Russ and he's a pretty big artist now. So I'm a huge advocate for the Russ method. But for monthly listeners, I don't think there's any way to go around it than just putting in the work. There's no shortcut to hacking monthly listeners. I mean, you can pay for playlists, but you can't guarantee whether you're getting real listeners or not. You just might be getting botted things from servers in specific areas. There's a list. If you Google it, there's a list of specific cities that are really cheap to get listeners from, where they just get bots to spam it and they just listen to 30 seconds and that's it. You get no saves, you get no playlist ads. But that puts me into the next thing is I wouldn't pay for playlist ads at all. If someone adds you under playlist themselves, that's perfectly fine. But with an editorial playlist, they're pretty hard to get on. So I think the number one kind of playlist you should be trying to get on are playlists that are from listeners who save your song and put it into a playlist. So right now, my most recent song has 33 playlist saves. So that's something you really want for listeners to have in their playlist. So you know they're going to go back and listen to your song. So it's going to be on repeat, hopefully, in their playlist. And that'll give you back-end royalties, recurring revenue. But on top of that, it'll keep your monthly listener count up. So if you don't know, Spotify updates their monthly listeners every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I usually check every day around that time to see what my statistics are looking like. And a good tip is if you're doing a tour and you're a pretty big artist, you can see what the demographics are for people who are listening to your music, and that'll show you where to tour when you decide to tour, because it shows you where all the cities are where people are listening to your music. But it's really, really important just to put in the work. I think a lot of artists think they can be the next Kanye and just drop an album and just disappear, but it doesn't work like that when you're first starting out. You need to keep coming out with content. There's a reason why so many of the big YouTubers post consistently. It's all about consistency in the content game. There's no other way around just putting in the work and just going crazy after it. That's how it is in any industry, any job, any kind of profession where you're trying to beat out other people. You're always going to have to put in the work. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's practicing, staying in the studio, working on your flows, your cadences, the lyrics, the beats if you make your beats, the mixing and mastering, the marketing. Always try to make sure you utilize your free marketing, social media. I do mostly Instagram. That's where I'm mostly focused on. I would try to stick with one or two. Obviously, I'm here on YouTube too because I'm comfortable with those. And do the ones that you're most comfortable with and the ones that you like the most. Those are the ones that you're more likely to be posting on. So like one for advertising your Spotify or just like all the places in general is do like a video where like you have your song going and like lip sync to it or like sing to it or rap to it or whatever you're doing, because that's what I started doing. I'm not sure the results of that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty positive. But just keep like keep working the song. I mentioned this in other videos before, but always see if there's like a local community radio station near you and try to submit your song to them. They may or may not play your song, but it's always worth it because it's entirely free if you get on. But make sure you make a clean version. And if you're not sure how to make a clean version, you can hit me up on Fiverr. No, well, for real though, I do have a Fiverr gig on that. But it's not too hard. You can always get someone to do it. Shouldn't be too expensive. I would charge $5 for it because it's a pretty easy job. But yeah, you can do that. And what else is there? Trying to think if I have any other tips. Oh yeah, this is one. So like there's a local KC Art Garden near me, so it's like a festival for artists. They have an open mic, shout out to them. But with look up to see if there's open mics near you, because that might be a good way to push your song that way to perform live in front of people. Like that definitely helps get people listening to your music and curious about your music. But I think the number one thing is trying to hit the Spotify algorithm. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. I think in my case, it just happened because I had a song with a bigger artist, but my part was really decent too. So I think that's what helped me hit the algorithm on that one. To my knowledge, the algorithm was through the release radar. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I ended up hitting the algorithm on that. So I think just coming out with a lot of songs helps you with practicing. You want to get to 10,000 hours. That's like the magic mark for like you to be a master is what they say. So like try to get to that point and just keep releasing music and you'll keep getting more monthly listeners. Like I think the number one mistake I see with artists is that they never come out with enough music. Like people come out with like, I know an artist that came out with like 8 singles and just like dipped. I mean, that's cool, but if you want to make a lot of money, you build up that momentum and come out with more songs. I think you need to have a really strong work ethic in the music industry nowadays because there's just so many artists. You have to keep putting yourself in front of people. Like, if people aren't seeing you, like, every day, then it's kind of like you don't exist kind of thing. Because the social media world moves quick. There's always people like going up and down who are like hot and then not. Because there's people like Island Boys who are probably going to be like a flash in the pan. There was like Carly Rae Jepsen with Call Me Maybe. Lil Xan was kind of like up and down kind of thing. Kid Trunks. I mean like, it's hard to have a sustained career, but you're pretty much control of your own destiny. But if you don't come out with songs while you're hot, and then you're like, oh no, my songs aren't blowing up anymore, I need money, and then you start releasing songs, it's going to be harder that way. But like T-Pain says it, he says like there's that initial hill to build up the momentum, then you go down the hill, and then you can coast, but what people won't tell you is there's a second hill. So no matter what, you just got to consistently keep working at it. Like I don't think there's any point where you like stop, unless you're retiring, I think. Like, you can take breaks, but you still gotta have music coming out from when you recorded before that are, like, in your backlog. But, yeah, I don't know if I have any other tips about monthly listeners on Spotify. I guess another one is try to come out with songs that hit a specific audience. Like, I came out with a song called KC Throwdown, so it's like a song for people in Kansas City. So I was trying to target people in Kansas City, so that kind of helped get that demographic. Like, if you make songs geared towards specific people and you know there's an audience that'll listen to it, that'll help getting more listeners on Spotify, too. But yeah, Spotify playlists from individual listeners definitely helps a lot. I'm just hoping to keep growing my Spotify. But that's about it for how to get more Spotify monthly listeners. If you guys have any better tips, comment them below. But that's what I know to the extent of my knowledge. I've been about a year and 3 months into this, so I'm not an expert, but that's kind of what I know is what I'm sharing here. So thanks for checking me out. I'll see you on the flip side.